How's it going, everybody? I bought a 60% sized mechanical keyboard on Lazada's big September 9 sale, and it just arrived the other day. For those of you who don't know, Lazada is one of the biggest Southeast Asian online marketplaces. I got the keyboard for this price during Lazada's 9/9 sale. The current price is a little higher. It's this amount. And it comes in so many varieties, so I got the blue switch and the gray and white keycap version. But you can get, for example, the same blue switch but pink and white, brown switch but in gray and black. Hover over it, I guess, here. Blue switch, gray and black, and so on. The full product name is quite a mouthful. I copied the listing from the Lazada product page and pasted it on screen. It's listed here as SK64S, but I've also seen it listed as GK64 or SK64 without an S online. Mine came in a Skyloong box with a removable braided USB-C cable, basic keycap and key switch pullers, and 3 macOS replacement keycaps. Nowhere in the product listing on Lazada do you see Skyloong written though. That's why it's confusing. You can use this wirelessly too, as it has Bluetooth 5. In the grand tradition of confusing SKUs from China OEMs, I've also seen GK64 or SK64 listed and sold as just the plastic casing, hot swappable PCB, and plate, with options to stick in your own switches and keycaps. The bare kit is nearly the same as this very one I have otherwise. I've also seen this model name sold as a higher end product altered by other keyboard brands with aluminum casing, fancier key pullers, and even a felt pouch included in the package. The GK64 sold in Lazada comes with Gateron optical switches. Aside from the blue switch I picked, you can also choose from black or brown switches. I bought this because I wanted an upgraded typing experience. I'm not really a gamer, but I suppose you can also use this for gaming if you're into blue switches, or you can choose their black or brown switch variant. This also works for Mac. Just swap out the keycaps in the lower left with the Mac specific caps they so kindly provided. Pressing FN+E will activate Mac mode without having to use their custom firmware. One reason I chose this over other similarly priced entry-level mechanical keyboards is because it has Bluetooth 5, unlike others that only have Bluetooth 3. I can't stand wireless snafus like input lag and connection unreliability. It seems stable after a day of use, but you can opt to use it wired if you want to game with it. Hey everyone, I've already been editing the first part of this video, basically the first 2 minutes, which was just unboxing the stuff. I started downloading the firmware. As you can see, it's only 56 megabytes, and even with my third world Philippine internet, it does not take that long to download a 56 megabyte file. It should, maximum be half an hour. That's already very generous. And it would keep pausing and pausing, and I have to sit here to click resume. Otherwise, I'll just never get the firmware. The reason I'm trying to download the firmware is because this thing needs the firmware for, some custom functions. And while I'm not a pro at this mechanical keyboard game, I do kind of want to get my money's worth. I do want to see what I paid for, and the software is part of the keyboard, so I want to have it, and it's taken forever to download. I just wanted to show it to you guys. And you download the firmware here, this website. It's also in their manual. There's driver 6.0.34. It's their latest driver from September 7, which was just this month. You have to click this red button, and look at that, it's stuck at 23.5, which is just half. And I started downloading like over 4 hours ago, and if I weren't here manually clicking resume whenever it stalls, I'll never get this firmware. So that's the story of this intermission. Hey guys, as you can see my background, the sky has turned dark. It's past 6 hours since I recorded the intermission earlier while I was waiting for the download to finally finish downloading the firmware. And look, it stopped again. I have to click resume manually. And it says 1 hour left. The download usually speeds up like the first moment I click resume, and then it slows down again, super slow. And then finally it'll trickle down to nothing, and then it'll say failed and I have to click resume again. I won't repeat technical aspects of this SK64 that have been covered elsewhere on YouTube by people more well-versed in mechanical keyboards than me. I just want to recount some features I found noteworthy while setting it up and elucidate some aspects that aren't obvious or straightforward. The manual also has a link to the manufacturer's website for downloading firmware that allows you to set custom functions. Usually, 60% keyboards don't have arrow keys, but this does in the lower right. They shrank the right shift key to achieve this. This bothers some people, but it's okay with me and my tiny fingers. I'm slightly more bothered with not having a right control key, but I'll live. The delete key is cute. There's a little trash can printed and a red keycap. Speaking of keycaps, they're of PBT plastic material. The RGB lights don't shine through the caps, but you can still read it in the dark since they shine through the spaces between the caps. I enjoy RGB not really for decorative purposes. In fact, I usually keep it to one color only and not blinking like Christmas lights. I find the lights useful when typing in a dim room. I like to keep my room dim at night. As for the NKRO in the product name, this GK64 keyboard supposedly has the N key rollover function that allows it to correctly register all the keys being pressed at the same time. It's useful for gamers, but I can't really verify that as I type only one letter at a time. Just thought to let you know. To activate the custom functions, the FN key is key. See what I did there? If you plan on messing with a lot of custom functions and can't be bothered simultaneously pressing function, FN, and a second key, you can double-click FN to keep the function key running until you click it again. It says so in the manual up top. You just need to translate it. Took me a while to figure it out. This has wireless functionality via Bluetooth 5, not a proprietary 2.4 GHz radio dongle. You can connect it up to 3 devices, including mobile phones, and easily switch between them. Very handy. I set device 1 to be my PC, and now I'm going to click function and X to pair it with my Realme 6 mobile phone. To know which device you're currently connected to, click the function key. If Z lights up, that means you're connected via Bluetooth to device 1. If X lights up, you're connected to device 2, and C to device 3. There's no hardware power button to turn Bluetooth off, so if you want to save battery, you either have to set its sleep settings manually or turn it off by clicking function and the spacebar. To set it to go to sleep after a set amount of time, you click function and the left control key. You'll notice that the LEDs will cycle through the number row. When 1 is lit up, that means it will go to sleep on its own after 5 minutes. 2, and it will sleep on its own after 10 minutes, and so on in increments of 5 minutes per number. When the light cycles to 0, the keyboard is set to never go to sleep on its own. I've used this for a day already. So far, it has no problem waking from sleep by clicking function and the spacebar, knock on wood. It has no function row above the number row. To trigger the standard computer OS functions, just click function, FN, and the corresponding numbers, just like a laptop. It has a few functions baked into it to represent keys that are absent from this tiny 60% keyboard layout. For example, page down, page up, insert, and tilde. You get the idea. You'll have to memorize this manual as the function is not printed on the side of the keycap letter it shares space with. Yes, you can buy custom keycaps where the function is printed, but God knows if the custom keycap set you buy will have, for example, page down sharing the same keycap as the greater than symbol. Anyway, I don't use these that often, otherwise I would have purchased a 10 keyless instead. I needed the arrow keys more than those. To turn on or off the backlight, you press function and backspace. To cycle through the light effects, you press function and the left or right bracket brace key. There are more effects that you can customize, and you can even trigger the microphone built into this, or so the product page claims, for reactive RGB, where the light effects sync to your music or your hand clapping or anything auditory. But I wasn't able to download the damn firmware after a day, as I talked about in the intermission earlier. I didn't buy this GK64 to micromanage its light effects though, so I'm not willing to waste more time trying to download the firmware. I'll just use it stock as is. This firmware isn't just for messing with the lights though. You can use it to set macros and custom hotkeys and stuff. To get into that mode, you click function, FN, and Q. To exit that mode, just type that same sequence again. But I'm good with whatever stock options the board came with, and if I do want to change things up a bit, they offer 2 more custom modes with slight variations, which you trigger by clicking function and W or function and R respectively. Just check the manual. It's not something I need though as a non-technical ordinary keyboard user. What may be helpful in multi-computer households is its capability to switch to macOS keyboard mode quickly by clicking function and E and just retyping that sequence to go back to standard mode. I mentioned earlier that the GK64 comes in a kit that you can customize. This complete pre-built board is the same. The switches are easily hot swappable. No need to know how to solder them into the PCB. You just have to make sure the switches are compatible, the pins and whatnot. That's beyond my level of expertise. Needless to say, if the switches are easily replaceable, the keycaps are too. Again, researching keycap size and compatibility is the buyer's homework before jumping in. But from my research online, keyboard experts are unanimous in saying that while this GK64 SK64 is a great pre-built cheap mechanical keyboard, it's not really that well suited for extensive mods due to its lower quality internal components like the stabilizers, plates, and even the plastic case. So if I were you, I wouldn't blow too much money souping up this entry-level mechanical keyboard beyond changing the switches to another budget Gateron set. Black, brown, red, what have you, or some basic keycaps with a different design. As for me personally, I'm quite pleased with the typing experience on this. I've been clicking and clacking away on it continuously for hours now while typing up this script and editing the first half of the video. Remember, as I mentioned in the intermission earlier, I ended up editing the earlier footage I shot so as not to waste time while waiting for the damned firmware to download. As I mentioned earlier, this GK64 keyboard comes default with Gateron optical switches, brown, black, or blue variants, at least the version being sold in Lazada, Philippines. I got the blue variant. Gaterons are a Chinese Cherry MX clone switch brand, and their color variants follow the Cherry MX naming convention for what's linear, what's tactile, and what's clicky. Obviously, despite Gaterons being generally faithful clones, the actual feel versus the Cherry MX color equivalent will have some variation. The clicky nature of this GK64's Gateron Blue switch is quite pleasing to me. I can bang hard on it while I'm typing Alejandro S. Thompson at his typewriter. I can lightly tap on it and it still registers the key presses. I'd still feel the clicky feedback though, without bottoming out. It does sound a bit obnoxious, so if you pack this up to bring to a coffee shop to type on, don't be surprised if you get a few scathing glares. Since this has no number pad, I also got a separate number pad for occasional data entry use. It's also got mechanical switches, Otemu red ones. I'll link to my first impressions video of that Moto Speed K23 numpad in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching. What do you think of this keyboard? Please comment below. Please thumb up this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to be updated when I upload again. See you next video.